It's a learning curve, wasn't it? You guys aren't smiling. It's a learning curve.
That happens. You guys all said you got it yesterday, and then, I don't think you did. I don't think you did.
Yikes. So we'll hit it again today.
That happens. All right, that's it at 25. Here we go. What number was the least? The first, second, third, or fourth? Show me with your hands. 1, 2, 3, or 4. All right, it was the fourth. Good. Number 2, the answer to an addition problem is the sum, 1,523. Number 3, we multiply by 10. It moves how many to the right? Show me with your hands. How many to the right? Show me with your hands. How many places to the right? It is 1 place to the right. You guys at home, I didn't see too much going on there. So with that, number 3, or that makes it 120. Number 4, where is the hundredths place? What digit is in the hundredths place? Kaylin?
The 0.
The 0 is not in the hundredths place. Lane? The 9 is in the hundredths place. The 5 tells us to do what? Round up or keep it the same? Round up. That makes the 9 a 0, which means we have to carry into the thousands place. 3,571,000. 3,571,000. Number 5. How do we know what number to put under the 5 in that table? How do we know what number to put under the 5 in the table?
I do. I look at the number.
And what was your pattern?
That they're multiplying it by 3.
How about they're multiplying it by 3? And so your number was?
243.
243. Thank you. And number 6, when we divide by 11 there, what do we get for our quotient? Our quotient. What do we get? What do we get?
12 with the remainder of 1.
Oh, we do not get 12 with the remainder of 1.
11.
We do get 11. We get 11. Eleven goes into 12 one time. We subtract, we get 11. Okay. Number 7, most common number of family members is? 4. And what percentage of people have 3 family members? 3 family members, Carter? Number 8. Two percent? There's not even a 2% on there. 22%. Number 9, 6% of families have how many family members? 6 members. And the numbers in order from greatest to least go like this: 19 and 42 hundredths, 19 and 24 hundredths, 14 and 92 hundredths, 14 and 29 hundredths. What questions do you have for me? Yes? 6 members. Any other questions? Quickly, get that recorded.
Those of you at home, I did not see any papers today, so I have no idea if you know what's going on with evaluating expressions. You were supposed to be turning those in at before 8 o'clock each day.
All right, evaluating expressions. Yes, indeed. The steps, the steps, the steps.
here is what your paper should have looked like.
Yeah.
That is not what I saw. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Here's what I'm going to say about that little comment. We are not after, can we just get a 9, a 31, and 7? We're after showing mathematically how we evaluate an expression. It's a process we're looking for. So, really right now, if all you could show me was a 9, that's only part of the points you would get. If this were worth 3 points, and all you showed me was a 9, you would get 1 out of the 3 points. Not very many points for that. Does that make sense? Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? So your job right now is to write down these steps you didn't have written down correctly. Because on everybody's page, I should be able to see steps like this. That make sense? So, 5 minutes, go. Start writing, because lots of you need to do a lot of writing.
Mrs. Allen?
Fix it. Like if all you need to do is insert something, then do it off to the side with an arrow. You don't need to do a lot of erasing.
Mrs. Allen?
I suggest you get out lined paper because a lot of you are going to be able to crunch it in on this piece of page 11 there. No, you could just say it. I can make a better decision on you obviously don't know it, right? So I'll make that decision. Okay? Just saying.
Mrs. Allen?
What?
I got all of them correct.
Huh?
I got all of them correct.
Did you look at the steps?
I did the steps last night of my homework.
And you had all those steps?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I would need to see that. Did you send it to me?
No, we forgot to last night.
Okay. I'm glad you had them. Anybody have a question on number 2? Anybody have a question on number 4? Anybody have a question on number 6? How about number 8?
Any questions on 8? 10? $12? When we take a look at these steps, here's what you're doing with these steps. This is the value of the variable, this is the expression, we substitute, and then we start doing order of operations. This step here, you do a copy from the book. This step, you're copying from the book. That's all you're doing, you're copying those two from the book. Does that make sense? This step, you're filling in from here to here. You're filling it in. Do you understand that? Okay? So these two are only copies from the book. This is a fill-in. You're taking this and you're filling it in where it belongs. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. Everywhere you see an X, you're filling it in where it belongs. Okay? So it's like this has a 3 behind it. And you're just flipping that card over and that 3 appears. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes?
My mom. Oh, don't say if we have to do 14, but we wouldn't do.
We'll do 14 in a minute. Okay?
So, are you always going to put a 3 down or an X down, or whatever number it resembles down? So what
In this step, that's when you fill it in.
Okay.
Until then, we want to know what X is going to be, what is our expression going to be, and now we fill it in. Okay? What are we going to fill in with? What are we going to use? And now fill it in. Okay? This is called the value of the variable. This is called the expression. This is called the substitution step. We're putting in, we're substituting the number for the variable. Okay? Does that help? Okay? Well, we're just copying these two right from the book. This is a given, this is a given. And now we start working. Okay? From here on down, we're doing the order of operations. All right? That make sense? Questions on that? All right, so 14. As we take a look at it, what should we start with? 14, what should we start with? Take a look at it. What should we start with? You've written down 2 through 12 the evens now. What should we start with in 14? What's the value of the variable? The variable is C. What is C equal to? In this case, what is C equal to? 10. Because they told us that the temperature for a Celsius temperature of 10 degrees. C is going to be equal to 10. What is our expression? What are we going to be using? Diana?
9C divided by 5 is 32.
What's what?
32.
Okay. That's the expression we're going to be using. Those two were given to us. We know that it's 10 degrees Celsius. We know this is the formula we use every time. And now we want to know, if it's 10 degrees Celsius, what our outcome would be. Right? So everywhere we see C, we fill in 10. We're at that fill-in spot. So now we do 9 times 10 divided by 5. That quotient, we're going to add 32 to it. Well, 9 times 10 is 90 divided by 5. We're going to add 32 to it. $90 divided by 5, what does that give us? How many 5s are in 9? How many 5s are in 40?
8.
What's 18 plus 32? Now, what kind of a label do we need with it? Piper?
3.
Degrees? Is it Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Fahrenheit.
Okay. So if it's 10 degrees Celsius, it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes?
How did you get this? I got 47.
Did you do 9 times 10 is 90?
Yeah.
Divided by 5 is 18?
Oh.
Anything else on that one? Anybody? All right. Take a look on the back side then. Number 1. What'd you come up with? A? B? C? D? How do you got A? B? C? D. Should have come up with B, 210 minutes. Should have multiplied 45 by 4 first, and then added 30 seconds. Number 2, how many of you had A, B, C, D? Should have had C. Should have multiplied B by 4 and, 80 by 4 and 5 by 3, and then added them together, giving you 335. Number three, what was your expression? Lane?
D divided by T.
Okay. Number four, what is your expression?
I believe, 12 times feet.
Okay, 12F, all right. Number five, A, B, C, D. C is correct, $300. You would add the $240 plus that 3 times 12, or 36, and then add another $24 that he had left for that $300. Number 6, A, B, C, D. It should be B, the 608, 608. Should have subtracted there to get that, yes.
Wait, let me see.
D divided by T. Any questions? All right. Do not bury that because you're going to do more practice on page 11 for assignment. So just put that off to the side. Don't get it lost somewhere in your mountain of things that you have with you. All right? All right. We need to take a look in our regular math books next. Page 87, please. Page 87, we're going to be taking a look at division today. We're going to be taking a look at estimating first. So I want you to have out your multiples page that we have that list of multiples so that we can move through this a little quicker in case you don't know your multiples very well. Now, I hope you realize you are not going to get to have out this list of multiples forever in 5th grade. That you need to be knowing your multiples, and this list of multiples being out is going to go away before too long. Okay? All right, to start with. To start with, we want to come up with an estimate. And when we've been doing our box routine with our division, you know what I'm talking about? We've been looking for a multiple of like 8 that's close to 12, right? Okay. When we've done a box division, we've asked for you to find a multiple of 8 that is definitely less than 12. But now we're doing an estimate. It can be anywhere close to 12. Does that make sense? Because we're just doing an estimate. It doesn't have to be underneath the 12. It just needs to be close to 12. So if we look at that, an estimate is going to be a number that is close, right? Close. So when you look down your multiples of 8, what number is close to 12? That's a multiple of 8. 16, and that's where that 160 came from. Does everybody understand that? Questions on that? So 160 divided by 8 would give us 20. So our answer, our quotient, is going to be close to 20. Okay? Does that make sense? All right? So now when we do the actual division, we take a look at 8 goes into 12, how many times? Well, the most it could go in there is 2, but does 8 go into 12 2 times? No, because 2 times 8 is 16 and it's too large, so we have to chunk it down 1, so we can only use a 1, right? So 1 times 8 is 8. I cannot put the 1 clear over here because it didn't go in there 1 time over there, did it? Okay, it did not go in there in the hundredths place. It goes in there clear over in the tens place. 1 times 8 is 8. It's clear over here in the tens place. So now we do 12 minus 8 is 4, and we can drop down the 8 in the ones place, and we have 48. So then jump down to step 3, which is that 48 I just told you about. And now we look at how many 8s go into 48? 6, and that's where the 6 comes from here in the ones place. 8 times 6 is 48. We subtract and we get 0. So our quotient is going to be 16. Is 16 close to our estimate of 20? Indeed it is. Yes. It's just this right here, and then we did minus 48. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Questions on that? All right. So as we take a look at page 88, and we're doing 4,236 divided by 5. I'm going to write it nice and large over here. First, we need to do an estimate. Oh my goodness. 4,236 divided by 5. Well, first we need to take a look at doing an estimate. Okay? 5 does not go into 4. We look at 5 going into 42. What is the closest multiple of 5? Around 42. Okay?
40.
40. So we're going to use 4,000 divided by 5. Does that make sense to everyone?
Oh.
Questions on that? Okay, we use 40 instead of 42. We still have to accommodate for the tens and the ones. Do we understand that? Questions? So 40 divided by 5 is 8. I need a tens and a 1, so my estimate is going to be 800. Yes, no? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Where are we? Yes, Kaylin.
How did you get 800? It says 5 divided by 4.
40 divided by 5 is 8, right?
8.
I still need something in my tens and my ones.
Oh.
Okay? Does that help?
I didn't get 40.
I looked for a multiple of 5 that was close to this 42. Okay? Yes?
But, so 45 also goes back.
All right? How many times does 5 go into 45?
9.
So 900 could have been my estimate. Will I accept both? Yes. Okay? I was going to bring that up next, so thank you. Anything else on that? Okay. Now, could I have picked 30? No, because that's not close, is it? No. All right. Okay. Now let's do the actual. 4,236, and we're dividing by 5. We know it's going to be either 8 or 9, somewhere in there, right? Okay? Well, 40 is smaller than 42, and 45 is larger than 42, so which one do you think we should use? The 40, the 8, right? Okay? The 8 has to go above the 2 because 5 does not go into 4, right? Does that make sense? Yes? 8 times 5 is 40. We subtract, we get 2. We bring down the 3. I need you taking notes. Everybody. 5 goes into 23. How many times? I need everyone taking notes.
20, so 4 times.
So our 4 goes right above this. Does everybody understand that? I subtract, I get 3. Okay? I now bring down the 6. how many times did 5 go into 36? Seven. My 7 needs to go right up here. 7 times 5 is,
Okay, but you have a remainder of 1 because you can't be 5.
okay, when I subtract, I get 1. I have used up all of my digits here, right? I still have 1 left over, so I can now say I have a remainder of 1. All right? We're good with that? Is this close to either of my estimates? Yes, in fact, it's practically right in the middle. Right? Okay? Questions on this? Yes?
Why did the 4 go up?
Why did the 4 go up?
Yeah, so,
It,
above the,
the 4 is 4 times 5.
okay,
I just showed where its position needed to be.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I handed out graph paper in here. Some of you are going to want to use graph paper to keep yourselves lined up, boxed off, whatever. Some of you may want to take your lined paper and turn it, may I use your lined paper? Some of you may want to take your lined paper and turn it like this to keep your column straight. Okay? So if you know you're somewhat of a messy writer, do this, use the box paper, whatever. What I cannot have going on your paper, this is what I can't have going on. The infamous, I'm going to erase this. The infamous problem like this. And then, you know, you kind of do this, you have no idea where you are. You know what I'm saying? You cannot be doing that kind of stuff. So if you're one of those that you find you're slanting down the page, you can't figure out what column you're in, because what I ought to be able to do is just come through and just do this. And when I've done that on your page, and ooh, they aren't where they belong, you got a problem. Okay? All right? So if you're one of those people, then I would suggest either using this that I just handed out, or just simply turn your lined paper like this, so you've got your columns already there. Put 1 digit per column. Does that make sense? Okay, so those of you at home, turn your lined paper like that, so that you've got your columns. Caleb, sit up. Abby, I don't see you. Abby, you need to be present. I don't see you. So those are a couple options. There are a few of you in here who are so neat on your papers, you may not need to use either of those tools. Does that make sense? And then there are the rest of you. Okay? Just saying. Just saying. Okay? And you know where you fall if you were in the rest of you. All right? So do yourselves a favor and use the lined paper, you know, sideways, and or the graph paper there. All right? Because this can get pretty messy. All right? And you make your mistakes because you're doing something like this and have no clue where you are. Okay? Another option is to just draw yourself some columns, but that gets messy too. You know? I mean, I've seen people try to do that, and then they're like, what is that? You know, because you're doing pencil on pencil. And then you can't figure out what in the heck you've done. Okay? All right, so I'm giving you a couple other options to help yourself. I suggest you do that because you need to be accurate. This is math, for crying out loud. Accuracy counts. All right? You must be precise. We're in math. Okay? So, are we good with the steps and the estimating?
Yes.
I feel like you just need more time to do it rather than me droning on with 4 examples. Am I correct on that? Okay. So here's the deal. You pretty well didn't get the steps on evaluating expressions. You pretty well stunk it up on that, right? It was pretty ugly. It wasn't there. Only a few of you got it. So we need to practice that now that you've seen it again. Okay? So let's go to page 12 in that little thin yellow book. I mean, it wasn't like we were going to leave those forever anyway, but, wow, I didn't think we were going to have to, like, attack it.
Well,
How about 11? Let's go to 11. Sorry, 11. My mistake. Page 11. Page 11. Here we go. On page 11, circle 3, 5, 7, and 11. 3, 5, 7, and 11. On page 11, you had it for an assignment.
oh.
So I hope you still have it. 3, 5, 7, and 11. Okay? And then, in your other book, page 91,
Wait, 5, 7, and 11, right?
3, 5, 7, 11.
Wait, so we're not.
On page 91 in your book, regular book, I want you 2, 4, and 8, estimate and actual. Okay. Page 91, doing 2, 4, and 8, estimate and actual. Now, all the assignment has to be done on lined paper, all of it, none of it in the book. None in the book, nothing in the book, nothing in the book. Now, you can use the graph paper if you want for your long division, but there's nothing done in the book other than you pick the problems out of the book. Yes, tomorrow. You've got 20 minutes, folks. All the problems that we had to do today, I did those in 3 minutes time, folks, 3. I did them in 3 minutes. Now, granted, I know how to do them, I get that, but I did them in 3 minutes. I didn't even give you that many problems to do. I gave you 7 problems to do. 7. You're busy. Yeah, you don't have time to talk. You're busy.